All right, high rollers, today something a little different for us anyway. More and more poker players are taking it up seriously. Daily fantasy sports. Gamblers have been flocking to DFS, and some, like our guest today, have been able to find some edges and make some serious money. He's with the website dailyfantasyhitman.com and can be found on Twitter at dailyhitman. Gregory R. Bunch, our guest. Gregory, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being our high roller today.
Hey man, thanks for having me on.
Listen, off the top, I have to admit that I have never played DFS. I did railbird a guy by the name of Eric Crane, a former guest of our show, former poker player who focuses on DFS only now. He won the DraftKings Millionaire, and I'll tell you, it was exciting to watch. This is becoming big business, right? Because it is so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Like, as basketball and football and everything moves on and improves, daily fantasy just makes the fans more engaged, and they just love watching the games.
Okay, so it all started with fantasy sports, right? And that was what, a year-long thing? DFS comes in, it's a day thing or a weekly thing, and it just sort of ramps it up a bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, people, they pick a fantasy football team and it sucks after 3 weeks. They just give up, take the loss on the money they put in. But with DraftKings, you can put that in, every day, every week, new lineup, new team, every day.
Give us the rundown of how it works. Basically, you're selecting a team, you're trying to stay under a salary cap, and you're trying to have the best performances, right? How does this work?
Yeah, so for DraftKings, you start off with a $50,000 salary, and FanDuel $60,000, and then you choose from, say there's 6 games on the slate today. You choose from any players from those 6 teams. They have variable prices on each player, determined on their past performances and how their hot streaks have been, and then you just pick from there.
So in DFS then, football, Tom Brady may not necessarily be the best pick because the salary cap will be so high.
Exactly, and a lot of times you'll notice, Aaron Rodgers is dominating the price. So every time you see him on there, you're thinking, I have to have him in my lineup or else I'll be behind the rest of the pack.
So it involves a lot of study, and I mean, how do you do it? You got to stay up on everything that's happening. By the way, do you play more than one sport, or do you focus on one sport?
Right now, it's just basketball, but we like to do golf when that comes on.
There's big money, right? So you're studying it. You've got to stay up to date. You got to know who's in the groove, who's out with injury, who's suffering, who's not playing well. How do you do that? I mean, that must be intensive.
Yeah, we have this entire Excel spreadsheet, just has so many advanced stats, like, their field goal attempts per game, their usage rate. There's literally like hundreds of statistics you can use to determine what players are going to, have an effect on this team today. You can even go as far as how this team defends the small forward, just that specific position. And that's how you can find certain valuable players within a game.
I mean, this is crazy. Like in poker, it's really shifted toward the younger players. They sort of get together. That's all they talk about. That's all they focus on. They're studying. They're learning the new techniques, the new concepts, and they're really young guns. Is the same thing happening in DFS nowadays?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you just, come in 5 minutes and make a lineup, you got no chance. People are here, working 5 hours, 6 hours a day on their lineups. They're looking at all types of stats. It's pretty insane.
I mentioned Eric Crane. He's a 2-time millionaire finalist poker player. There's also Max Steinberg, a guy I like. He turned a $40 satellite on DraftKings into a main event entry at the World Series of Poker, and then he finished 4th in the World Championship for $2.5 million. I mean, this is big money. So what's happening on these sites? FanDuel and DraftKings, by the way, they're the 2 biggest, right? They dominate the market.
Yeah, FanDuel actually just got bought out by DraftKings. So they're going to be merging here in the next year or so. And they're the only 2 that are really big. Like there's Yahoo Sports, there's, other ones that are out there, but these are the main 2.
Okay, so a guy like Max Steinberg, he plays a DFS tournament for $40, qualifies for the World Series. Are we playing just for money? Are there packages? I guess it's happening right across the spectrum now.
Yeah, there's been, in the last couple of months, I've noticed a lot of cool things where it won't be just for, $20,000. It'll be for, tickets to the All-Star Weekend or something like that. So it's getting more of an interactive fan experience.
Talked about Max and Eric leaving poker. In America, of course, poker players are limited. A few states offer it statewide only, so the player pool is really down. So a lot of these Americans have gone into DFS because it's similar to... Do you play poker?
Yeah, I play poker as well.
So it's pretty similar, right? These two things.
Yeah, definitely. But I would say, like you said, DFS gets a little bit of that taboo look with the gambling per se.
But you would definitely
But
say that DFS, much like poker, is a skill game, right?
yeah, I would agree that it's a skill game. I don't think it's up to chance. You have to look really in deep and pick what players are right and what players are wrong.
So, with the poker situation in America, have you noticed a lot of poker players switching to DFS? And just like in poker, when there's so much money involved, you then start attracting accountants, stockbrokers, all these whiz kids. Is that happening in
Yeah,
DFS?
yeah, I would agree with that because all my friends are playing DFS. We all love it, and it just makes the games more interesting to watch. And I think everyone can get along with that.
And that's the appeal of it, right? Because everyone who is a sports fan can put some money down and then cheer on their teams or their players with a new perspective.
Exactly. And who doesn't want to put $5 down and see the potential to win 100 grand? I think everyone would want to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, dailyfantasyhitman.com. You guys delve right into this. You talked about all the spreadsheets. You've got a lineup tool. You use algorithms. What's happening at your website?
Yeah, so we hand out 50-50 lineups and GPP lineups, and we're winning for our customers probably, I would say, around 75% of the time.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we notice all of these websites that overcharge their customers so much, $40-$50 a month. And we just think that's a little ridiculous because everyone wants to go on DraftKings and be a net winner, not a net loser. So that's why we're only charging $5 a month because we want, the everyday common man to have a chance in DraftKings, not just that algorithmic genius whiz kid.
Right. Okay, so I go to dailyfantasyhitman.com. I want to sign up. Basically, you're expediting the process of me selecting my team. Is that it?
Exactly. So, instead of having to do your own research for 3-4 hours a day, we basically break that all down. We give you the game lines, we give you the injury news so you don't have anyone stupid in your lineup. And then we give you 2 options for each website. That way you could either play it safe with the 50-50s, which we always recommend, because 50-50 requires a lot lower point total to win. So if you enter into a tournament, right, that's guaranteed to pay you out $30,000, that tournament is going to require a 290 score, whereas a 50-50 might only require a 265 score. So you can get a lot lower score and still cash in a lot of money by doing the 50-50s.
Fantasy sports, it must be frustrating too because you've got your lineup, your players are performing well, and then the fourth quarter comes. You look on DraftKings, you're leading the tournament. Mm-hmm. Your players still got to play that fourth quarter, though. It can be frustrating, but it can also be exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I've been in many situations where, you're watching the game and your guy goes down with a knee injury and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you can't bear to watch the rest of the game.
I keep going back to Eric Crane. We've had him on the show. He won that millionaire. He talked about the second place finisher and how he doesn't know how he got through that fourth quarter because his players just failed miserably. And he says that second place guy just must be devastated.
Yeah. He's probably thinking in his head, for hours, like, dude, if this guy would have just made that one shot, or if I would have just chosen a different person, it can get in your head sometimes.
Yeah, it can definitely get in your head. Speaking of players, I see on Twitter today in basketball, Kevin Durant goes down with an injury. How does this affect DFS? Or is he one of those players that you rarely select because of the salary cap issue?
Yeah, he's always on the higher end of the salary cap, but, lately he's just been so good, you almost have to play him every night. He's like an Aaron Rodgers of football, pretty much. But with him out, Stephen Curry, I don't like how Stephen Curry's been playing at all, but his usage will go way up. Draymond Green's usage will go way up, and Klay Thompson as well. Because Kevin Durant just, he takes, 25, 30 shots a game, a lot of rebounds, a lot of assists. So you take that out of the lineup, I don't know who they're going to replace with him. They just signed Matt Barnes, but I don't think that's enough at all. I think it might be bad for the Warriors this year.
Well, yeah, losing an MVP-type player, I guess. Are you amazed by the technology of DFS? There's so many categories, so many players, so many statistics. I often wonder, how do they keep up with all of this stuff? It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. It is pretty insane. And if you look at the new app, too, I'll have it open, and it will say Bradley Beal hits a three-pointer. The app will tell me, Bradley Beal just hit a 3. It's pretty weird. It's almost like Siri now on the DraftKings app.
So I know you're a student. You must be checking your phone all day.
Yeah. It's like I wake up, go to class, come back, do all the lineups, and then I just, just wait and pray.
And you've had success?
Yeah. My best lineup was a year ago when Kobe still played, and him and LeBron were battling it out, and they would just, back and forth, three-pointer, three-pointer. And I came home with a couple $1,000 on an entry. It's insane.
The website is dailyfantasyhitman.com. Now, you say on the website that if you stay disciplined and train hard, you have massive potential to make money in DFS.
Oh, yeah. And what we mean by staying disciplined is simply stay disciplined to your 50-50 lineups. Don't go for the GPP, the big win. Stay disciplined to the 50-50s and just do your homework. And that's all you need to do to win.
It's kind of like poker, Some players have a score in poker and then they decide they're really good. They move up stakes or they play a tournament that's out of their bankroll, and all of a sudden they're back down. Money management's got to be important too in DFS.
Exactly. Like, you easily could win 2 days in a row, think you're the hot stuff, and then you're putting in $100 in on a couple entries and you lose it all. So it's like, you just have to remember what kind of player you are. You're not going to get that number one lineup every night. That's almost impossible. So if you just play it safe and get those 50-50s, you can double your money every day.
And it's $5 for all these training tools at dailyfantasyhitman.com. That's $5 a month?
Yeah, $5 a month.
Well, that's pretty reasonable, especially if you get some good advice and it turns into a winning lineup for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, our 50-50 lineups are money. If you're putting our GPP lineups in, the percentage of winning is going to be a lot less, but that's the risk you take if you want to win a lot more.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate your time today. You got to check out the website. You'll get some good advice there, dailyfantasyhitman.com. Gregory R. Bunch is our guest today at Daily Hitman on Twitter. Gregory, thanks so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show.